We've done it. We're back. We're back with another live stream here on the Robin Lundberg YouTube channel. Look, I got to be honest with you. Like, I basically worked myself into dust over the holiday weekend, so I barely know where I am. Even still, right now, I'm recovering, but I wanted to be here for y'all. Please, and thank you for checking out all the work everywhere. Link in the description for Women's Fast Break on SI. My Rookie of the Year pick is in there if you want to check that out. Obviously, videos on this channel all over the place. It was on Sirius XM and other spots over the past weekend. I'll be back on Sirius, I think on the 19th is the next one I have booked with Michelle Beadle. Nonetheless, I wanted to talk about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the Rookie of the Year race and the debate and everything in between. Because this has sort of become the new Jordan and LeBron, right? Where no one ever gets tired of talking about it. I don't know, like, I can't remember the last time a topic was this ubiquitous and still engendered this much debate and back and forth and interaction and engagement other than Jordan and LeBron. So not only are Clark and Reese Bird and Magic, they're Jordan and LeBron. And I'm tired of people trying to hate on either or discredit either in the goal of propping up the other. Look, you can have a pick. You can have my pick for Rookie of the Year, to state it plainly, is Caitlin Clark. I think Caitlin Clark has a bigger impact on the entirety of the game. I think Caitlin Clark is the engine for the Indiana Fever. She was responsible for 55% of their offense against the Liberty the other day. She is top 20 in the WNBA in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. She is generating more points than any player in the league when you combine her points scored and the points her teammates score off of assists. You know, on top of that, she is the top scouting report option for the other team. Like, the bulk of the opposite team's defensive attention is geared toward Caitlin Clark. You know, I'm not so sure like she won't belong in the MVP conversation by the end of the year. She's been that good. And I think people are just looking for ways to diminish it at times. With that said, Angel Reese a beast. Like, people, you wouldn't say whatever, like, even the stuff that I would say, like about her field goal percentage, well, that's going in the other direction. About rebounding your own misses, so what? What are you supposed to do? Let it not get rebounded? Like, she has a special rebounding talent, Rodman-esque, the way she tracks the basketball. But she's also contributing in other ways too, right? Like, she can play defense. She's not a great interior defender, but she's a really good all-around defender. And she is a competitor, and she's scoring more now. You saw her hit some threes the other day. She has the coordination to become a shooter and to become a finisher off the drives. So, like, she's got it all, and she's going to be a superstar. In fact, if I were in charge, both of them would be going to the Olympics. Both Clark and Reese would be going to the Olympics. So, like, you know, you get the Clark stans who want to tear Angel down, and you get the Angel Reese's Pieces, or whatever they're called, to try and tear Clark down. Does Clark fan base have a nickname? Sorry, Cody Crybabies, Clark Crybabies. You got the Clark Crybabies, and you've got the Reese's Pieces, who are constantly like tearing the other one down, like there's not a case for either. And like each of them, you know, haven't done a ton and aren't playing at an incredibly high level, because they are. That's undeniable. It's undeniable at this point. So it's, you know, a fun thing. And it's a good thing. It's a great thing for basketball, for, you know, the sport, for the growth of the game, for both of them going forward. You know, you can't really have anything negative to say about what's going on right now. And I think, some of this has become, it was predetermined in a way where like Clark got all this hype. So you have people who are trying to like, they're almost overcompensating for the hype by saying it has to be Reese. At the same time, like I said, you have the people who are like dismissing what Angel's doing. Like what Angels do, if the consecutive double-double thing wasn't a thing, it would have been done before. That's what makes it a thing. It was just like the triple-double is a thing because it was never done before. Right? Like they're doing things that have never been done before. And they're going to be great teammates together on the All-Star team because their games are very complementary. Again, I think they should both be heading to Paris on the Olympic team. They're the two most popular players in the sport, along with Asia Wilson, I would say. Then I would say maybe Sabrina. Is that fair? Who would be the fifth? Could be Paige or Juju on the way up. But it's okay to like both of them. They're not actual enemies, and I have the comment. Somebody just asked me my personal choice. I told y'all. Check the link in the description. I articulate the argument there. Women's fast break on SI. But my personal choice, I would pick Caitlin Clark. I would vote for Caitlin Clark. I really honestly think Caitlin, like watching her play, like the motor she plays with too, as fast as she pushes the pace, as gifted as she is with her vision, like once she starts hitting some more of those threes, she's up there with the best guards in the league, if not the best guard in the league already. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not trying to gas her. I'm really not. It just is what it is. And then Angel's going against some of the toughest competition. So there's just simply no way to deny or diminish the accomplishments of either. That's foolish. It's foolish. Hating, whatever other description you want to use for said tactics. They all would apply. So, it's good for the sport. And I see all these comments, and I'll get to some of the comments, but like attitude doesn't factor in. Like I'm not counting what Caitlin Clark has done for attendance or ratings. Doesn't count in the Rookie of the Year debate. Rookie of the Year debate is who's been a better basketball player. I'm not counting what Angel Reese might have said in a press conference. I'm not counting that. Doesn't matter. I'm talking about their production. And Angel Reese has been a walking double-double who's starting to score more, is relentless in her pursuit of the basketball, has the utmost confidence in herself. Look at her shooting those threes. Hadn't shot them before, and she's shooting threes. While Caitlin Clark is an offense onto herself. And the Fever are starting to play really a lot better. Like Caitlin and AB, you see their blossoming friendship. On top of that, you've got what you've got with Kelsey Mitchell. That's three. They do have three All-Stars. Now, people could take that and say they should be better than the Sky, but the Sky were better than the Fever last year. Relatively speaking, the Fever are better than this. Well, the Fever are slightly ahead of them in the standings, but they've improved more this year than the Sky have. And the Sky did get 2 picks also. It's not like they, didn't get Cardoso. There was actually a little controversy with the Chicago fans who were complaining that Cardoso didn't play enough. That's why Angel came out and defended Teresa Weatherspoon today. So it's a good one. Kevin Zwicker says the Rookie of the Year race is like the Braun and Melo one in 2003. Yeah, I never thought that one was particularly close. I think that one, again, there was like some favoritism toward Carmelo actually at that point because he had played in college. And people wanted the guy who won a championship in college. They like kind of wanted that to be seen in the NBA versus the kid who had come straight out of high school and had all the hype. Again, the hype, right? Like the hype. There's a backlash. There's like a natural backlash to hype. People just have it. It is what it is. Seen it so many different ways, places, all those things. There's a backlash to hype. And Caitlin Clark is dealing with that now in a sense because she is, I think there are some people who are predisposed to not picking her because they feel like they're supposed to pick her in the beginning and then they're supposed to defend the rest of the league. And they don't like the fact that, people hate on what Angel has done and any of that. So there you have it. I think it's just okay to appreciate. You don't have to root for both. I don't care who you root for. You can root against one or the other. You don't have to be a fan. I'm not saying that either. But just don't be a hater is all I'm saying. Like, and you can even hate in the sense of you're like you're rooting against, but don't let that blind you to what they're accomplishing and what their abilities are as a basketball player. Remember, I talked about Angel Reese's field goal percentage. Her first 9 games of the season was at 33%. The last 11 games, 48%. So she's improved. Like, that was the thing I was critical of her for, and she's improved it. What am I going to say? And then, like, people will talk to turnovers with Caitlin Clark. Who cares? Yeah, can she cut down the turnovers a little bit? Sure, of course. Luka Doncic led the NBA in turnovers. LeBron James is the all-time leader. Shut up. Right? Like, you're dealing with the high volume, high responsibility players. Those are the players who have a ton of turnovers. DS says you should get Monica McNutt on the show. I would love to have Monica on the show. And I'm trying to think of who I know that knows her. I don't have a direct connection, but I would love to talk to Monica. I mean, some of you people might, I see you because she said something about, she's a smart, intelligent analyst. You don't have to agree with everything she says. In fact, we'd have a good conversation. We'd have a good conversation. I do think there is something to the old guard of WNBA media who don't like that Caitlin came in and everybody said, oh, this is the first time anybody's ever watched. So they're like protective in a sense. Now, that shouldn't really factor in with Angel because she's new too. But I guess she represents a different phenomenon in a way than Caitlin. Who cares, though? It's all nonsense. It's like they're both deserving of being in the conversation. Angel's been incredible. And so is Caitlin. And as long as Angel keeps putting all the points on the board to go on with the rebounds, she could tighten the race up in my mind. But I think Caitlin's also starting to play better than she ever has at the pro level. Like, the one thing she's starting to work, you see her hit the turnaround, the tough finish over Lainey Hamilton the other day. She's not shooting great from 3. Once that turns around, all bets are off. All right, let me get to the comments section. See what you guys have to say. Rebecca Allen says, no, Caitlin has decency and respect. Reese has none of those. Guess what? Even if that were true, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter in the Rookie of the Year race. But it's also an unfair broad brushstroke to paint Angel with. Because, should Angel have cheered when Clark got hip checked by Kennedy Carter? Probably not. All right. Was that also all blown out of proportion at the time? Probably so. I think Angel has really let her guard down a little bit. I think she felt like she was under attack a lot, and her pride kind of came up to defend herself, and sometimes as a result, she didn't always say the best thing. But I think she's really let her guard down and realized she's here, and she's gonna have people supporting her. And she's got those little girls supporting her and all that stuff. So I don't think that's something that Angel has to worry about anymore, to be honest with you. And I like what we've seen from her and her attitude and her demeanor, and she stuck up for her coach today, and she sticks up for her teammates all the time. And she's a tough player. Live life and grow 420 says decency and respect. What does that even mean? It's a sport they play basketball. It's people like you. That's the problem. Those are the first two comments of the show. I think the rest are all good. So we got and again, like the decency and respect thing. I don't know what that means. But by the way, it doesn't really matter. It does when it comes to who gets to be rookie of the year. You could be completely indecent and not disrespectful, and still win rookie of the year. It doesn't. You can. It's all about your numbers, your team's record in the standings, your game, all that stuff. Nan P90 says, I remember Carmelo and LeBron was another. I remember being talked about when they first came to the NBA. I don't think it was like this, though. I don't even ever think it hit this level. Wade was in that mix, too, if you recall. And Wade turned into a better player than Carmelo. I mean, if Wade and LeBron didn't team up, I think they would have been viewed as rivals at some point. Because Wade was clearly the second best player of that draft class. And he belonged in that rookie of the year debate too. Again, I think it was similar in the sense of there was a lot of hype around LeBron, and therefore some people wanted to go against the hype by picking the guy who won in college, not actually like believing that Carmelo was better than LeBron. In this case, I think you see some backlash to the hype that Clark has received, and people just don't want that hype to come to fruition. And luckily for them, Angel has played at such a level where you can make a case for her. Joseph Park says, did you catch the Skip Bayless show today? And if so, what did you think the analysis of lack thereof? I did not. I haven't. I don't know if I've ever. I mean, I guess I could find the clip online, but I might get hit for the cut. What was his argument? I mean, you realize Skip has found a new LeBron in Caitlin Clark, right? So have I, in a sense. Like, I used to talk about LeBron more than anybody else. Now I'm talking about Caitlin Clark more than anybody else. But I've also seen him do the whole clutch gene thing with Caitlin Clark. So he's greasing the wheels for her to be his next LeBron. September says, big Caitlin Clark fan. Well, there's a lot of them. Franklin Hurley says, Caitlin is every 12-year-old's rookie of the year. Are you 12? You speak for all 12-year-olds? Richard M. AR's claim to rookie is the year is the double-double streak. However, double-doubles aren't rare. 4,608 in WNBA history, 36 triple-doubles. AR is great, but one is better. Well, I mean, look, what Reese did is rare because it hadn't been done before. So by that definition, it is rare. We got a comment from WWR member AJ Schreiber from London. He was over there for Formula One. Saw his boy, Sir Lewis Hamilton, victorious. Right? Did he win? I know I talked about Formula One on the radio on Friday because of that Brad Pitt poster. It like came up while I was on the air. And I'm like, all right, here, I can kill a few minutes with this. What's up, Robin? Says Bryce, what up? Copter Man says both are great. I'm a fan of Clark. David Weiss says, why do people who are fans have to have names? Well, not everybody has. I'm talking about like the extreme fans. Generally, fan bases get like, a nickname. The Beehive for Beyonce, Aubrey's Angels for Drake. The Barbies for Nicki Minaj. I don't even say the LeBron one that they throw out there because it feels homophobic. But there's, dude, that's just the way it is. It's fun. It's a cutesy thing. Bryce Smith said, "What up, Robin? What up?" September says, "I think Caitlin will do some very special things after the Olympic break." I agree. Gonna have to figure out. Send me some ideas for what we should cover during the Olympic break too. That's gonna be a doozy, considering what we've been covering here. This was the question from Perfect Defect of my personal choice, which is Clark. Kayla Mendenhall says, "How many triple doubles do we think CC will have this season?" At least a couple. I mean, she probably should already have two, right? Like she was one rebound away from the other one was subbed out at the end of the game. Mandy Gavin says at least two, maybe three, but definitely more than one triple double. Look, she's going to flirt with averaging close to a triple double. The way things are trending, I think will wind up leading the league in assists. And then she gets a good deal of rebounds. Again, Caitlin Clark is top 20 in the NBA in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. Top 20 in all those categories. Bryce says, "I expect Caitlin to have her lapses, but over the years, it'll get easy. Most of it is slowing the game down. People don't understand playing slow fast is where it is at. It's unpredictable." Yeah, I mean, I think the speed of the game at the beginning and then her teammates adjusting to the speed she wants to play with. You see in the recent workout video, Aaliyah Boston looks to be in like really good shape now. I don't think she was in as good a shape to start the season. It's okay. Like she turned it around. She looks like she's in tremendous shape now. And her and Caitlin are running the floor now together, which was different than the beginning of the season also. The Lord Schaefer says, "I think CC ends up with 3 triple doubles by the end of the season, especially after the All-Star Olympic break." I think that's conservative. I think she'll get more than that. Mancy Gavin says, "I know it's weird because positions are different, but do you think if the numbers were reversed, sports media would pick CC?" No. No. I think Caitlin Clark's hype is working against her. I do think that. And then Angel has given enough, has done well enough where it's not like you could say you're hating by not picking with Angel because she's been awesome. But I do think it's worked against her. Gold Teeth Poo Productions with a super chat here, a very nice one. Says, "You, sir, are super cool. I love how you keep it real on both sides, good or bad." A new subscriber. "CC is such a great player, but I'm a Reese fan since college. This is such a great back and forth for Rookie of the Year." I appreciate that. And I love the fact that the, Angel Reese fans, because I'm not I'm an Angel Reese fan. I'm not I'm not an Angel Reese supporter. I've been like following her and rooting for her in that sense, but I'm a basketball fan. I'm covering women's basketball. Why wouldn't I be an Angel Reese fan? It's stupid not to be. I'm not like, this is not the Sharks and the Jets. That's a really old reference. Bloods in the Crypt. It's not the Jedi and the dark side. Angel gets painted that way, and she's sort of embraced that in a sense. But watching basketball my whole life, I've seen players like Angel, like players who have that little bit of chip on their shoulder, have that nose for the basketball, provide the value in that way, and it's very valuable. And then there's players like Caitlin who are more in control of things with the ball in their hands. And I generally would think the latter has more value, like I would say with LeBron or Luka or any of those players. But that doesn't mean Angel ain't hella valuable. And of course, if you're a fan since college at LSU, she was Maryland before, right? I went to Maryland. I mean, and her numbers in college get slept on a little bit. So, you're a fan of Angel Reese, you have bragging rights right now because regardless of whether or not she wins Rookie of the Year, she's proving herself to be a bona fide force. And thank you for the chat and the subscription. Thank you. Crystal Vegan Smith, their game couldn't be more different. But if Angel Reese continues to hit threes, it's a wrap. Well, I mean, obviously, like that's going to come with volume, consistency. I like the fact that she did it confidently. That's the biggest takeaway I would have from her threes. Not that they went in or not. It's that like she shot the first one and I almost thought she was like thinking for a second. And then the second one she went right into after hitting the first one. So it's a good sign of things to come, whether this year or further down the line. Doug Developer says, as a non-white and non-black person who is politically independent, I can say they are both great. I had the conversation again with my daughter. I was at a party yesterday in the jacuzzi, and I think she brought up that I was white. I don't remember why. She was asking me what her favorite colors were, and I had to, she's 8 years old, and I've hammered this home with my kids. But I said to her, Ronnie, what do we think about skin color? And she repeated what I've told her. We treat everybody with respect, the way we want to be respected. And I was like, it doesn't matter, right? And she's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And that's how I raise my kids. That's how I've always been. I will, of course, understand that skin color matters in certain discussions throughout history, in reality now, at various times. I think it's been overblown when it comes to this conversation specifically. And I think it's almost been weaponized when it comes to this conversation specifically. DS with the super chat. What is your WNBA finals prediction? I mean, it's hard not to say a rematch at this point. The Sun, though, could make it interesting. I'm not like the Fever. I'm looking at the standings. The Fever are third in the East right now. That's pretty. They're not going to catch Connecticut or the Liberty, but I don't think they wind up falling behind Chicago, Atlanta, or Washington again, personally. Their point differential is still bad because they got smacked so many times early in the season, which hurts Caitlin's advanced stats, like the net rating and stuff. On the other side, like the Lynx have been very good defensively, but I'd still take the Aces in a series just because they're stacked. The Liberty and the Aces are stacked when it comes to like legit stars. And that's like half the Olympic team between those two teams. Probably more than half of the Olympic team between those two teams. So at this point, I would have to predict a rematch before anything else. Nan P90 says, what do you think is the ceiling when it comes to numbers for both Caitlin and Reese in their WNBA careers? I mean, I think Caitlin could be 20 and 10 points and assists, right? With 20 points, 22, maybe more than 20 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists a game, like legit, like close to triple-double numbers. I think Angel's probably looking at like 18 points and 12 boards night to night. Just ballpark. Bryce says, you already know I'm going with the Aces. Robin. Live Life and Grow says turnovers matter. Yeah, sure, they matter. But the players who handle the ball the most with the biggest responsibility are going to have more turnovers. That's always been how it is throughout the history of basketball. For Caitlin, it's about like trimming them, not like cutting them out. It's never going to happen. But like taking one or two off a game, and then all of a sudden she's in line with everybody else's turnovers. Because she's also generally you would look at assist to turnover ratio, right? Like that's what has always been looked at historically. And where's she at on turnovers? So she's still at 5.5 turnovers a game, which is a lot, but she's averaging 7.5 assists now. So let's say she can get that to 4 turnovers a game. All of a sudden, that's looking really good. She can cut out a turnover and a half a game. Your access to me says both Angel and Caitlin are good. Can like both, but people need to stop linking the two together in every conversation. Well, like in this conversation, it's natural. They are the two Rookie of the Year favorites. So nobody's like forcing that. Kevin says, my aces are taking it home. Perhaps so. I mean, look, they got Asia Wilson. Jackie Young, who's one of my favorite players. Chelsea Gray just got back. Kelsey Plum, obviously. Kate Martin off the bench. I mean, that's a really good basketball team. Talent-wise. Stacked. Top to bottom. Stacked. Stidacked. Appreciate the super chats. And all the interaction as always, guys. Good to be back with you live here. Where are we at now? Sorry, I'm scrolling back up to try and do this as good as I can to I go to the super chats first and the members first, but I want to try and get as many people in as I can. Michael LeBlanc says, I agree with your turnover take on for Cece. Kayla Mendenhall says, I really like Andrea Carter, the analyst. She was the one who said that the one thing I didn't like from her was the mid-off thing. Like, that was an unnecessary comment, but I'm not going to hold that against you for life. It was just a bad comment. The reason I didn't like that is because, first of all, the Fever in the Sky drafted at the top of the draft for a reason. And second of all, this is a huge thing for the game. Don't downplay it. Why? There's some of that energy from the WNBA faithful of when a band that you liked gets popular and then you don't like them because they're popular. Bryce says, I like McNutt. She talks about what's going on the floor. She knows the game. Monica's very smart. Does a good job. Yeah, she said the thing about the record. Now that they're going to use that against her because now that the Fever have a better record. David says, if the Fever ever figured out how to do screens, it'd be amazing. Look, Boston's screening really well. Her and Clark are playing really well off ball screen. Lord Schaefer says, I think CC's 3-point percentage goes up a decent amount after the All-Star Olympic break. She gets her feet back under her. Probably. Ja Tony says, thanks for being fair, bro. They're both great. Wait till Cardoso gets 100%. Great channel sub. Thank you. Yeah, well, that was the thing that Angel was defending Teresa Weatherspoon about because I guess some of the Sky fans were critical because Cardoso only played 20 minutes. Even the Storm's coach remarked about it because they asked her what was the difference in the rebounding between the prior game and this game, and she pointed to the fact that Cardoso was not on the floor. My guy Ernesto, sorry I'm late, Robin. I don't know why my notifications didn't notify me. Oh, wait, that's why I put that off. Also, great games this weekend. Great racing, too. Camille Harris says, let's get real here for a minute. By the end of the year, Clark will take the Rookie of the Year. Well, I agree. I would give her the Rookie of the Year now, but that doesn't dismiss what Angel's doing. Whoever your pick is for Rookie of the Year doesn't dismiss the other. Michael says AR got a lucky break on the hip check. Imagine if she's not going to get seriously. I was much more worried about Caitlin Clark getting injured from that condensed schedule than I was what Kennedy Carter did. Her injury, what Kennedy Carter did, she could have hit her hip or something or done whatever. She was not going to miss an extended period of time as a result of that. The condensed schedule was concerning because that's the kind of thing that could lead to one of the big injuries. That concerned me far more than what Kennedy Carter did was not that big a deal. It was uncalled for. She should have been thrown out of the game. It was not a basketball play. Should have been thrown out of the game. And if they had done that in the proper way, then she wouldn't, it wouldn't have been the thing it was. Teddy Seafield, my haircut is rare. Is that good? Hope so. Vadim says it's unique for a reason. Yeah, both of them are. The double streak didn't happen, and the triple double thing didn't happen. Uncle Jay, I can't read that whole thing, but people talk about rebounds don't matter. Bill Russell won 11 chips, ultimate rebounder. He also kept the ball in bounds, with his blocks. I mean, did a lot of things to impact winning. There's a lot of things that go into winning. You know, Caitlin Clark is generating more points than anyone in basketball. I had my tweet about that to my article went viral. And like that can't just be dismissed, right? Like that to me is like the type of thing that wins the argument personally, because the name of the game is outscoring the opponent. But so many different things go into winning basketball: getting to loose balls, playing defense, chemistry, moving without the basketball, all these things that aren't like scored or assists or whatever. Rebounds obviously are part of those too. Andre Edwards says Angel Reese is better. You're entitled to your opinion. Ryan Keene says, leave Drake alone today, Rob. Hello. Did I say anything about Drake? Though I love that Kendrick, the what he teased in the Not Like Us video. That was hard. The reincarnated, in my opinion, what, you know, coming for the broccoli, how to get off of my feet, whatever that was. That joint was hard. Mr. Get off of my feet. Yeah, that's how it goes. Nuke says CC has more responsibility as the primary ball handler. All Reese has to do is rebound and shoot layups from 2 feet. Okay. I agree that Clark has more responsibility. But I also watched some of the Sky game last night, and they're trying to give Reese more responsibility. They're trying to feed her on the block of post-entry passes. So, again, you don't have to diminish one to boost up. Caitlin Clark, her performance, her basketball abilities are a loud enough argument without having to say what Angel's doing is not impressive, is what I'm saying. Badamoni with an interesting point. Defensive rating for the Fever equals 108.4, and for CC is 107.2, meaning they're better on the floor defensively with Clark, which is kind of contrary to what I guess people would say. Crystal Vegan Smith says WNBA TV deal is currently $80 million. Do you think it's cut off, but it's going to increase? If that was your question, I think it might triple, at least. Mr. Lane says, I'm still upset with the Chicago Sky. Cardoso was on the bench the entire second half of the game yesterday. Well, that's what they were criticizing Coach for. DS Sai Sahande says, are you a Nicki Minaj fan? No. I'm not a not fan. Like, I think Nicki's very talented. I think her verse on Monster deserves all the accolades it gets. I think she's had some other great songs and great appearances. I can't say her body of work overall is amazing. I think when she chases the hits, it doesn't work out so well. And her conduct at times can, her public persona can rub me the wrong way, but she's very talented. And when you're talking about the most talented female MCs of all time, she's right up there. Lauryn Hill didn't perform long enough, but maybe the most talented of all time. Rhapsody currently is probably my favorite. Obviously, Lil Kim. But Nicki Minaj is as talented. She can really spit, and some of her voice changes. Maybe Kendrick took some of that. And used it a sense. Where are we at here? I got to all the super chats, so just making sure I didn't miss any of those before I go back into you regular folk chats. Crystal says, I'm so happy to go somewhere where the Angel Reese hate is unbearable. You'll never catch it. I'm not going to hate on nobody, man. About basketball. AJ says, saw Brink back on the court supporting her teammates. No crushes or even a knee brace. You love to see it. Well, she did have a knee brace. She did have a brace when she was sitting on the bench. When she first showed up to the thing, she didn't. But she did have a knee brace on the bench. Regardless, the recovery times have gotten better. All that stuff has improved. over time. All that stuff has improved over time and will continue to improve. So you should expect her to be able to get back out there earlier. Counting Sheep says she missed both 3 attempts last game. Oh, did Angel take 2 threes last night? TXZ06 says, have you heard any news about Nafisa Kali or Nafisa's injury? Plantar fasciitis can be a lingering injury, may be an issue for her Olympic status. Well, look, if she drops out of the Olympics, they'll probably go with a big. If you're speaking in terms of Caitlin Clark, she was only listed as doubtful the other day. I know from experience that plantar fasciitis can be a lingering. I had it. I mean, I still have a little flare up here and there, but I think the fact that she was not ruled out immediately beforehand was better sign, and that she'll try to be there. But even if she's off, now imagine the backlash if she's removed and they still don't bring Caitlin, but then they might bring Angel. I really think Angel and Caitlin should both be on the team. Like I think that was a missed opportunity. I mean, at this point, it's spilt milk, but I would like to see them both on the team. Teddy C. Fielder says one WGM stated he would trade his whole team for Caitlin. Yeah, I mean she's generational. I've been saying it. She's going to break the all-time assist record in the season. Like Caitlin Clark is a generational talent. That's why people like her. That's why people like her. Dirty Reg 22 says Indiana need a point guard to take Clark off the ball, make her a 2 guard. I mean, no. She's leading the league in assists. They need. I mean, Wheeler's done it. I think they need that look to change things. Richard M, new member, WWR member. We got to plan a real member get together, guys. Please hold me to that. Please. We're going to do a fantasy football league too. I already have the details for that. I just haven't shared it in this chat. Maybe I'll put it in the next show. It's in the Facebook group. But welcome, Richard M. Thank you for your membership. But I really want to, reward that membership and get you guys together for something. Where else are we at? Warren P says, as an Iowa fan, Clark is always best running the point. She controls the pace and tempo of the game. She's a floor general who also happens to shoot the lights out. Yeah, I mean, look, she really moves fast. And the Fever's transition offense is now feared because of her. Basil Faulty 241 says, man, I missed the live show, making comments to older ones. You're in the live show, bud. This guy likes to give me a lot of crap. He's always in the comments giving me some sort of crap. But he's always in the comments, so I can't complain too much. Theo says, yo, what up, Robin? What up, Theo? Laura Dawson says, have there been many point guard rookies that were starters from the get? Well, guards it's always been harder for guards in the like Caitlin Clark very well might be having the best rookie season a guard's ever had in the WNBA, like right now. In fact, I think she is. Because I think the only like rookie season that's comparable otherwise would be Parker's. For all the accolades she's compiled. But I don't think any guard has had the rookie season Caitlin Clark's had, or even close. Katie Zmolik says, anytime someone puts down the other person to make the rookie of the year argument, I'm out. Argue for each player's own stats. Again, I have my argument in the link below. But yeah, my argument is not going to be I pick Caitlin Clark because Angel Reese sucks, because that's foolish. That's not going to be my argument. My argument is going to be I pick Caitlin Clark because she has the most responsibility. She's generating the most points. She's getting the most attention from the opposing team's defense, and her team is starting to win. But, with that said, Angel is a historic level rebounder, is improving offensively, and plays her tail off every single game. You know? Twin Force Fusion says hell will freeze over before the WNBA will give Rookie of the Year to Clark. The woke something or other woke. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, let's see how. There's a lot of season left still. I do think. I don't think it's the woke or whatever. This one, like I think. It's backlash to the hype. Truth Hurts says Robin got some flavor. Appreciate you for recognize that, Truth. Truth does sometimes hurt. I try to give you the truth when I'm in the booth. Not be obtuse. When I'm talking about this Rookie of the Year race, I ain't gonna hate. It's just a debate. Where are we at now? Nuke says he likes to poke at the Barbies. I'm guessing that's Reese. I thought they're the Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces. Mikey B says Reese looks and acts like Tiffany New York Pollard from Flavor of Love. I don't know that reference. Sorry, but it doesn't sound like a good one. I think Angel's doing a really nice job in conducting herself very well. Dirty Reg 22. This is a better. I'm not the biggest Reese fan, and I'll say it loudly, but yes, she has been playing better of late, and I'll give her credit for that. What do I think of the players getting drafted next season? I think Paige and Kiki are the leaders in the clubhouse right now. Right? Kiki has the dunks going on, and she'll be playing alongside Juju. And Paige is starting to look like a star in her own right. You see, like she's everywhere. Can someone explain? Samantha asked me what was Skip Bayless's argument? Like I see Skip and I just keep going. Like no offense, but it just is what it is. What was his argument? Somebody share me his argument, and I'll tell you what I think of it. All the CC fans talking about respect, but have nothing but disrespectful things about Angel. Super pathetic, says Cabinet. Look again. That's like, but it's not. CC's fan base, Caitlin Clark's fan base, is freaking enormous. It's enormous. So it's fringe people who are doing this. It's fringe. Let's see. What does LeVar have to say? People don't realize that Reese's rebounds and points explosion started when Cardoso came back from injury. Cardoso was under the rim too, stopping people from boxing out. Easiest double-doubles ever. Again, but now you're trying to take credit away from her, right? Like, does that help her? Sure. Right? Like, Camilla's a big girl, and she's going to take up space and rebound. You know what helps Caitlin Clark? She's playing with Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, two legit all-stars, because both of them are legit all-stars. We ain't playing around no more with that. So there can't, like, there's just no reason to, you can make the argument for Caitlin without diminishing Angel. And you can explain, relatively speaking, why you would think Caitlin's statistics matter more and all that stuff. Sid says during the WNBA break, we're gonna introduce you to new artists you never heard of. We're gonna try some stuff during that time, probably, for sure. For sure. This person, sorry, I can't read all that right now. 59% of Clark's made shots are unassisted. Only Cloud has a higher percentage among starters. Bible Boy says Clark can't shoot good. Well, we've seen her shoot well before. I think she'll start going the other way. Samuel says, who do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year? I think Caitlin will win Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done. I do. But it's a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Rand Sports PH says, any news of Caitlin Clark's shoes, sir? Nope. We'll hear it. You'll all hear it at the same time. We'll all hear it at the same time because that's going to be a big deal. This is a fair comment from Crystal. I think Angel Reese will be a perennial all-star and a USA player, and CC will be on the Mount Rushmore, a top 5 player versus a top 25 all-time player. I'm not mad at that take at all. I think Clark is doing so much she can't score like at Iowa. That's true too. I mean, she's also in the WNBA. Like she's playing with the pros. Shapiro Production says it's interesting to learn that the WNBA is a post in big league and point guards are not valued as much as the big. Well, like the WNBA is reminiscent of what the NBA once was, and the aesthetics and everything has changed in the NBA, and you see more of the traditional basketball in the WNBA. Counting Sheep said Skip was harping on CC's 4s and turnovers. Laura Dawson says Skip low 3% and high turnovers. All right. Well, I mean, again, if he says her primary strength is 3s, he doesn't know her game, because her primary Caitlin Clark's best talent is her court vision and passing. To me, the 3s are the thing that was like, holy crap, I hadn't seen this before. But shooting always goes up and down. She'll have one game coming up. It's brewing. The game where she hits 9 threes is coming, right? Like, it's coming. But the turnovers again, it doesn't really. And look, Skip is. I'll tell you, this is the truth. Skip is looking for the engagement. He's going to attach himself to Caitlin in a negative way for her. Zal Centers says AR is a badass, so is CC. Let's enjoy these rookies. DS Cooper Flagg looked good. Future Brooklyn net. Cooper Flagg playing with Team USA today. Ooh. Did you address the disproportionate offensive rebounds? Without those numbers, Reese is just looked at as a very good player, not special. Look, all rebounds count. Is it that I mean, she's certainly leading the WNBA in offensive rebounds. There's no question. But what's she averaging in defensive rebounds? Let me see if I can find it real quick while we're on the subject. So I'm being completely fair. Let's take out the dates. Okay, offensive rebounds. Angel has 140 defensive rebounds. That's still 6th in the league. So she's actually tied for 5th in the league. So she's top 5 in defensive rebounds and number 1 in offensive rebounds. She's a great rebounder. T Black said Skip said her shooting percentage was horrible, even with her triple double. Blah, blah. Her true shooting percentage has been damn good as of late, so he ain't using the right stats. True shooting percentage factors in what a 3 is worth, count your free throw percentage, and your regular 2-point percentage. Sandy says, I think Clark has a chance for MVP. A very small one. I think Clark will start to get into that conversation, but Asia has such a lead, it's going to be difficult for anybody to penetrate that lead. Mela Yella says Skip and Keyshawn were doing their best to diminish anything Clark does. It was so obvious. Yeah. Look, that comes with the territory. She's going to be hated on. Daniel, sorry, I can't pronounce you. I don't want to butcher your name. Both players are doing great. I like Angel because she works hard. It's not easy to be that consistent for 13 times and still running. CC is great too. Agreed. Mitchell Cole says CC is getting cooked by almost everyone. Well, that's not true. I mean, we just had the defensive stats put up. It's not true. Boxing and Bulldog says, while the headline might be true, one is still a whole lot better and more skilled than the other. Again, yes, you can pick and choose your fighter, if you will, but the other one is a worthy opponent. Kevin Zwicker, Skip praised Bronny to hate on Braun. That was hilarious. I didn't say. I don't know. Rattle Shark says, will AR and CC work together at the All-Star game, or the rivalry get in the way? I think they'll work together. I think the WNBA All-Star game is the biggest sporting event of the summer, to be honest with you. Shapiro Production says, so help me understand, is rookie of the year based on stats, overall impact? What is the criteria? Whatever the voter decides is the criteria. There is no specific criteria. All right, I think I got through most everything. KB says CC is guarded more than any other player. That is also true. Daniel says, I'm actually following the WNBA from Ghana, so you can tell how much CC and Angel have impacted the league. Well, welcome from Ghana. Appreciate you finding your way here. DS Sai Sahande says, what is your take on John Cena retiring? I did something on Jason Page's show on this. I mean, it's kind of expected, right? It's kind of expected, like that Cena was going to retire. He already was essentially retired, come back for a run or two, and he'd been hinting that he was getting too old. He just put an end date on it. But he's going to have a long run before he's retired. So I think they should put him into a prominent match and get him a prominent win. Boxing and Bulldogs asked, what's higher ratings, MLB All-Star Game or WNBA? That's interesting. Is MLB All-Star Game on Fox? It probably still wins. Unless the WNBA is on ABC. I have to check where they're broadcast, relatively speaking. But it's going to be a lot closer than one would have ever imagined before. And when it comes to like talking points and shared highlights, the WNBA will win. Basil's back, says Angel's like fifth, but only has 18 more defensive rebounds than Clark does. Well, which is a credit to Clark. Clark is a tremendous rebounder. Crystal says, I would like to see CC drive to the basket more. I'd like to see her, she's going to get there though. Like she just needs some time to put in work on the floater and the in-between. Like she needs that other parts of her bag that will make her feel more comfortable. Nuke says MLB still gets rating. Well, MLB is so strong regionally, people forget. Like it's so strong regionally. Counting Sheep says WNBA is on ABC. So that'll make it closer. That'll make it closer. I don't know what part of the statement you're saying. I skipped over. I've got like a billion comments. I didn't mean to skip over any context. Just like I'm legit hosting the show and then scrolling through these comments and doing my absolute gosh darn honest best to answer as many as I can. That's the truth of the matter. Doing my absolute best to answer as many as I can. Wait, pro wrestling's not real? Holy, did you guys see this? What a shocking revelation. What am I? My kids know that, man. They're talented, though. They're talented. And it's one of the best forms of entertainment that exists. I mean, even if it's close, that would be crazy. Here. I'll try again. The point was is the offensive rebounds. Reese has 97. The next closest is 62, and that is not a function of how awesome she is. Well, look, it's a function of several things. Is it she's rebounding her own shots often? Yes, that is part of it. She's also rebounding other people's shots often. That's part of it. Offensive rebounds give your team an extra possession, whether you're rebounding your own shot or your teammates' shots. So do I think, I could argue Caitlin's rebounds are actually more impactful just because I have somebody in my Twitter mentions who keeps sharing me this stat on the Fever's record when Clark gets a certain number of rebounds. I wish he was in here now so I could point it out, but it jives with what you watch because when Clark gets the rebound, she pushes the ball. And all of a sudden, it's a transition opportunity. That's why I say her rebounds are significant, because every time Clark gets a rebound, it's a potential fast break or layup. Kevin says wrestling isn't real, but I consider a pro wrestler an athlete. I would not, because they don't play a real sport. I would say they're athletic, but they're not athletes. Very, very semantic distinction. But in order to be an athlete, I think you have to compete in a real sport. They are incredibly athletic and more athletic than some pro athletes. I hope Reigns comes back soon. So do I. Tribal, yours and mine. Our tribal chief. The head of the table, Roman Reigns. The head of the table. I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief. By the way, you can catch me on Denise Salcedo's SmackDown reaction show on Friday nights. Obviously, Women's Fast Break on SI. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to the channel. You can comment later. Do all those good things. Appreciate all y'all joining the show. As always. Laura says, wanted to ask what your website you contribute to that has the W. Oh, so the website is Women's Fast Break on SI. The link is to a description on the Rookie of the Year. You can find all the other stuff I've done there. WNBA.com has stats that you can sort. If you want to go look and play with them yourself, WNBA.com. Here, I'll drop this in the chat also. ESPN does too, any of those websites, but this is the one from the WNBA itself, and they have sortable stats and advanced stats and that stuff if you want to check it out. But my site is Women's Fast Break on SI. I'm writing news posts. I'm writing analyst posts. The one I did on Clark generating more points than anybody really blew up. I'm doing off-court stuff like on Asia Wilson's shoes. A lot of stuff all over the place. Eventually, if anybody has any writing background, by the way, I might as well ask you guys here first. I'm going to bring in somebody to help me sooner rather than later. So if anybody has writing background and would be interested, find a way to hit me up before I go public with that also. But that's the answer to your question. All right, guys. Oh, wait, we got a new commenter. Well, I like to show love to the Michael Jones says the power forward position is the deepest position in the WNBA. AR is only rookie in the top 25 in advanced stats. I also think advanced stats, I'm not trying to favor bigs because they're low usage. And so they're low usage, high efficiency, meaning they're doing a lot with their touches. And that helps with advanced stats. You see it with big men in the NBA all the time. Like a lot of them have a really high player efficiency rating. So that's, going to help in that case. We'll see as the season goes along, because part of Clark's net rating being hurt is the fact that she plays every game, like all the game, and they got smacked in early games. So that's going to hurt her net rating because she's on the floor the whole game. So it's not changing whether or not she's on the floor or not. She's always on the floor. And they lost a lot, by a lot. So that is going to knock down those numbers a bit. But, all stats are what you make of them, what you take of them. Bible Boy says, cut the excuses. No, that's called an explanation. It's not an excuse. It's called an explanation. I'm telling you what I think, what I believe, and I'm explaining it to you. I got nobody's grading me on this. There's no, nothing happens to me one way or the other. I'm telling you what I think, and I'm telling you why I think what I think. That's what it is. Teddy's Fielder says, thanks, Robin. Thank you. Thank you all for joining the show. As always, KB, a new commenter. CC fans love her play style. Love to watch. Well, I think that's the biggest reason she is popular. But I appreciate all y'all joining. I should be back tomorrow. Mostly regular schedule this week. Thank you all for joining the show. I'll put this comment up for you, Bible Boy, just because I like the reference. But it is what it is. I'm not spinning the narrative anyway. And the Lord Shaper, another one saying, um, thanks and good job. Look at this. You guys are awesome. You're like my friends. you know. All right, guys. Take it easy. Till next time. Eat.